Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Last Wrestling Podcast, and this is a big mistake, because for the first time ever, I'm doing a live-ish review of a professional wrestling program with a bottle of wine in my hand. This could go very bad very quickly. I know I said that the next non-AWL video that I put up was going to be the second stage of the Young Lions Cup tournament. Well, honestly, it's been a crazy couple of weeks. I have not gotten around to it. But in an attempt to be timely, I am going back to New Japan Pro Wrestling for Goten-san Fukuoka Wrestling Dontaku 2019, the first big show of the Reiwa era. And like I said, I do have a bottle of wine that I will be going through the evening, so if this starts to get even more nonsensical than usual, that's why. But, you know what, I don't have to go to work tomorrow, so let's have some fun. Alright, starting off with a video package, and it seems to be emphasizing Dragon Lee defending the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship against challenger and former champion Ishimori Taichi, and this is going to be a one-on-one revenge match after what happened in Madison Square Garden. That's going to be the main event tonight, I think. They're also advertising Jeff Cobb versus Taichi, with Cobb defending the Never Openweight Championship. And of course, because Jeff Cobb is Jeff Cobb, they're going to make some fat jokes. Sometimes I really hate Japan. They also advertised a couple of matches for the second night of Wrestling Dontaku, which I will be covering when it happens. So we're going to start off with the first match. And if you haven't heard these live-ish reviews before, basically I am watching the show. I've got it queued up on my computer here. I am watching it for the very first time, and I don't know any of the finishes. I've been spoiled on absolutely nothing. I'm going to watch a match and then comment on it, and at the end I'm going to give it a letter grade, A to F, and we'll see if it was a good show or not. So here goes nothing. I admit, first impressions going into this, I'm a little bit worried. New Japan is now officially in a habit of spreading their big shows out over 2 nights. We know they're going to be doing this for Wrestle Kingdom next year, and hopefully I'm going to be in attendance for both nights of that, but there is a chance of burning out the audience. So, because I'm looking at right now 3 hours and 20 minutes of night 1. No reason to think night 2 is going to be any shorter. So we're looking at 7 hours, roughly, of professional wrestling over 2 days, and that is too damn much. But hopefully there'll be some stuff we can skip through. First match is going to be a Young Lions Trios match. Toa Henare and 2 Young Lions versus 2 other Young Lions, and Thaddeus Q. Dumbfuck. Team Thaddeus Q. Dumbfuck picks up the win when one of the Young Lions pins another one of the Young Lions. Thoroughly skippable match. Next. And it's going to be an 8-man tag team match, and it's going to be a Team Psychopath match, so I already know exactly what it's going to look like, aside from who's going to be the winner. Yay. Okay, this match was so frustrating. The first half was exactly what you would expect out of a Team Psychopath match. Referee shouldn't have even bothered showing up to work. But by the end, they actually told a pretty good story. The focus of the match was a building rivalry between Minoru Suzuki himself and Jushin Thunder Liger, who is, of course, in his final year as an active competitor. So hopefully that's going to build to a big one-on-one match at some point, and maybe hopefully a final title run for Liger on his way out. Doubt that. He'll probably put somebody over. The actual finish of the match, Taka Michinoku pins Tiger Mask after a huge, nasty-looking Michinoku Driver. So it was a Team Psychopath match, so it's never going to be more than, frankly, an annoyance. And I'm really sick of the rugby coach gimmick. That needs to go away as quickly as possible. But the Liger Suzuki stuff was fantastic. And it's good to see Taka Michinoku actually get a win. How old is that guy anyway? I need to look that up on Wikipedia. One moment, please. And according to Wikipedia, he is 45 years old. Wow. I hope I look that good when I'm 45. Coming up next, we have a trios match. Togi Makabe, Toriyano, and Will Ospreay versus the Bullet Club trio of the three Tongan brothers, Tamatonga, Tongaroa, and Hikureo. So this should be a pretty hard-hitting match. I'm actually looking forward to this one. Okay, serious question. When did the Bullet Club become an afterthought? Because that's what I just saw. Is a match where the Bullet Club... Nobody cared about protecting these guys. That was actually kind of painful to watch. Will Ospreay pins one of the Tongans, I believe it was Hikureo, to win the match. And there was no attempt to protect Bullet Club at all. So, I guess with the elite guys gone and no other local gaijin to sort of throw in, that this has become the Tongan jobbers. What a shame, one of the big four factions, really one of the big three factions in New Japan for the last 6 years, alongside Chaos and LIJ, and with Suzuki-gun coming up as number 4, they've basically dropped down to nothing. This was kind of sad. On the plus side, however, everything I see from Hikuleo I am loving. He's enormous, he's very, very tall, obviously, has this great basketball player's physique. A lot of times in wrestling, when we think of the giant, we think of the big man, we think of someone like the Big Show or Braun Strowman, who's tall, but's also thick. And I don't mean that in a sexy way. But this guy that's tall and lanky and lean and an athlete, he's not the Great Khali. He's no Will Ospreay, but I see a big, big future for Hikuleo if he can stay healthy. That's the only worry I've got with him, with his style. But victory for Will Ospreay, Togi Makabe, and unfortunately also Toriyano. And Bullet Club needs a shot of adrenaline right into a vein right now. Or, as was hinted, the 6th year of the Bullet Club might be the last year of the Bullet Club. Coming up next in Trios action, we've got Kode Bushi, the reigning Intercontinental Champion, alongside Roppongi 3K, Sho and Yo, versus 3 members of Los Ingobernables de Japón. And that will be the team leader, Naito Tetsuya, and 2 of the junior heavyweights of that organization, Bushi, and because he's somehow a junior heavyweight, no he freaking isn't, Shingo Takagi. The Dragon, as they are calling him now. He's not a junior heavyweight. He's a monster. Run with that. Okay. Anyway, I stand aside. I stand corrected. One thing that's been an overarching theme this evening so far is the Best of Super Juniors tournament, the league that will be starting up in just a few days. So the reason that all of these 6-man and 8-man matches have been filled with junior heavyweights because they've got a 20-man field this year of that junior heavyweight tournament. So basically everybody's got to get ring time so the announcers can speculate, what does this mean for his momentum going into the Best of Super Juniors? Means absolutely nothing. He's got a week off until the next match. Alright, so yeah, it's the good guys versus LIJ, and I think we're obviously building to a rematch between Ibushi and Naito, so that looks like fun. And this will also be a golden trio, because Sho and Yo are the reigning junior heavyweight tag team champions. So, lots of potential title implications in this match. That was a lot more fun than it had any right to be. Okay, the golden trio of Kode Bushi and Roppongi 3K pick up the victory after a pin on Bushi. So, the Dragon, Shingo Takagi, still unpinned, unsubmitted in New Japan Pro Wrestling. He has not lost a match. That's a plot point. And I'm looking forward to this Best of the Super Juniors tournament. I really wasn't going into this. I thought it was just going to be another long slog, and it will be, but I'm interested. I really am. And Shingo Takagi is going to be in the tournament. They've announced the 20 participants for the tournament. They have not announced the blocks yet as of this recording. But it's a good-looking list. A few question marks from Ring of Honor and a couple of guys that I've never heard of. But all in all, it looks like they're really putting the best of the junior heavyweight division forward for this. So that's good. After the match, Ibushi takes the microphone and basically says, I am tired of waiting. Naito, you want your title match? You want a rematch for this Intercontinental Championship? Fine. Just give me something. Name the place, name the venue, name the date, whenever, wherever you want, you got it. But I want to know when we're going to have this match. Tell me today, tell me tomorrow, but tell me soon. Naito very slowly comes back to the ring, grabs the mic and said, how about tomorrow? But, the card's already been decided for tomorrow. We really can't change it, so just remember what I always say. And then he drops the microphone. Of course, what he's referring to is his catchphrase, Tranquilo, asennayo, which is basically relax, tranquility, and basically don't sweat the small stuff. So he's clearly stringing Ibushi along, and he's clear that he's gotten into Ibushi's head here. So I like where this is going. They're still going with the story that Naito wants to be a double champion, wants to be the first man to hold both the Intercontinental and Heavyweight titles under the International Wrestling Grand Prix. Nobody's ever done that, at least not simultaneously. So they seem to be sticking with this, hopefully. All in all, like I said, a match that was a lot better than it should have been. And what do you know? It's time for another freaking trios match. And this is going to be another essentially New Japan versus Bullet Club situation, as Hiroki Goto, Juice Robinson, the reigning United States champion, and Mad Mikey Nichols, who, he's been showing up for the last couple of shows, and he's a skinny white guy, so other than that, I have no idea who he is. And he's going to be facing, it looks like, Jay White, the Switchblade, former and very recent IWGP Heavyweight Champion. Bad Luck Fale, the leader of Bullet Club now. And Chase Owens, the guy that we all thought was going to AEW, and turns out he isn't. Like I said, once again, trios match. Yay. I really don't mean to sound like I'm down on the show. It's been an entertaining, what's it been so far? It's been an entertaining hour and a half. I'm just getting tired of these, these trios matches. They don't really, they've got a trios title in this company. It just doesn't seem to matter. I'm getting a little tired. Let's get the plot going here. Anyway, New Japan, Bullet Club. Hopefully Bullet Club can pull out of the slump they've been in tonight. That was a very well-wrestled match that meant absolutely nothing. Juice Robinson picks up the win over, I believe it was Chase Owens, and nobody cares. This was a perfect example of what I say when I talk about wrestling as storytelling. You can have some of the best athletes in the world performing the most spectacular moves, but if I don't know who they are, if I'm not inclined to cheer one, boo the other, or preferably both, it doesn't matter. Because there's no drama, there's no story. And there was no story to this match, other than Bullet Club takes another loss and continues their spiral into irrelevance. Now, what did matter was after the match, because Bullet Club, the rebels, the biker gang, they just tucked tail and scurried off to the back like good little puppies. And Juice Robinson was on the turnbuckle posing with the U.S. title when the lights go out, and you're half expecting The Undertaker to show up, but we get a vignette of a brand new wrestler. And I have no earthly clue who this is. This person is sitting in a bar wearing a leather jacket with the words Death Riders on the back, so motorcycle gang presumably. He's got a UK flag Union Jack patch on his sleeve, so presumably a British individual. And he's got a big knife. And he's carving what first looks like a Z, and then becomes an infinity sign, or an hourglass more likely, into the table of the bar. He's sitting next to a guy with a lot of tattoos on his face, because we need to get a reaction out of the Japanese crowd. And then he turns over a sand timer, and we get the graphic "Time's Up." And then we get the date of June 5th. And Google has told me that June 5th is actually the finals of the Best of Super Juniors tournament. So presumably, whoever this person is, this Time's Up, Sandglass, Brass Knuckle, Knife Biker Man, is going to show up at that show, presumably to challenge Juice Robinson. We actually see him watching a Juice Robinson match on the TV in the bar. So, no clue who the hell this is, but nice looking vignette, and as themes go, a sand timer, you could do a heck of a lot worse. Coming up next in a special tag match. What's so special about it? Tomohiro Ishii teams up with the reigning IWGP Heavyweight Champion Okada Kazuchika against Los Ingobernables de Japón tag team experts Cold Skull, Sanada, and the King of Darkness, Evil. And I'm about halfway through my little bottle of wine here. It's not a full bottle, because I do not turn into Kamen Rider Build, but it is a nice little bottle of Bon Marché, Saturday only at the Bon Marché, red wine, and not sure where this was made. And honestly, whoever made it probably shouldn't admit to it because it tastes like shit. Okay, so yeah, I'm a couple glasses in now, and I've still got about 2 hours left on this show. Fun time. So apparently this is a special tag match because this is a preview of 2 singles matches that we're going to see tomorrow at the second half of Wrestling Dontaku. Okada will face Sanada for the IWGP Heavyweight title, and Ishii will face Evil because big men like punching each other. And in that sense of the traditional, we've got a couple of big singles matches, so let's throw them together into a tag team. This worked. I kind of want to see these matches now. In the end, Sanada taps out Ishii with the Cold Skull submission hold, which is sort of a, I think it's basically a crossface chicken wing with body scissors. And so sort of an inverted, almost a dragon sleeper with the body scissors, actually, because he's got the head under his arm. Good match. Didn't give away too much, so because you had the 2 participants that are opposite each other tomorrow as the victor and the vanquished. But again, this was a really good match that didn't really contribute to the story all that much. They did plant some seeds, at least the English announce team did, that there's this underground movement supporting Sanada as champion, which, okay, fine, cool. There was a bit of a mixed reaction. He did get a really positive response from the crowd, but Okada's Okada, come on. I know people were getting sick of him toward the end of his last title reign, but at this point, I'm not sick of him yet, so off we go. And it is our first title match of the evening, as we have the Never Openweight title being defended by Jeff Cobb against Taichi. We start off with a video package recapping the story so far. Jeff Cobb wins the Never Openweight title at Madison Square Garden, beating Will Ospreay. Taichi has been on a warpath. He not only beat, by pinfall, Will Ospreay to make his argument for being the #1 contender to the Never Openweight title, but he's also been injuring everybody else who earns that title shot. Every #1 contender, there's been, I think, 2 of them, according to the video, has been injured by Taichi. So he's sort of taking over the violent maniac role from Bitey McGee, and may he rest in retirement. And now he finally gets his title shot against the guy he's been making a whole lot of fat jokes about. And as someone who looks like many people think wrestling fans look, I don't like the fat jokes. So hopefully the babyface gets the victory and the heel gets the comeuppance here. And just a wine check, I've got about a third of a bottle left, so 2 matches to get through, and let's hope I can at least stay semi-coherent through that. I'm honestly not sure what I would call that. Slow would be a good word. Plodding would be a good word. Inverted would be a good word. And in the end, I'm not sure if that was a good ending or not. Probably yes. Okay, what happened was Taichi defeats Jeff Cobb with his finishing maneuver Black Mephisto to become the new Never Openweight Champion. Big celebration with Suzuki-gun, and they're basically the new Bullet Club. This was a slow match. First about 5 minutes or so were mostly Taichi stalling, shenanigans, using the manager as a female human shield, using the referee, using the partner. Kanemaru was at ringside. Lots of cheating, lots of nonsense. And then it was basically, can the heel overcome the babyface? Can the underdog villain overcome the bigger, stronger good guy? That's why I say inverted. This was a terrible story to be telling unless you're trying to get us to cheer for Taichi, which I can understand if this is a character they eventually want to turn face, because he does have this cool Ikemen thing going for him. But here's the problem. He had to punch Cobb in the nuts to do it. Okay, the nut shot, the foul, the low blow, should be an instant match ender, barring outside interference. Because it's like the one time it's acceptable to mansplain. You don't get up from that in 3 seconds. I'm sorry, it simply doesn't happen. So, nonsense, BS. Someone hits the low blow, that's the 1, 2, 3, or it should be. In this case, Cobb gets a big kick out immediately after the low blow, but it's the low blow that allowed Taichi to hit the finisher in order to win the match and win the title, so yeah. Where does Jeff Cobb go from here? Probably back to the US. Because we've learned that the fat guy, it's okay to make fun of them because they're losers. Ugh. Well, the bottle of wine is now completely empty, and I still have 1 match left to go. The main event for the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship, Dragon Lee making his defense against Taichi Ishimori, and we see the video package. Dragon Lee has basically dedicated this title reign to Hiromu Takahashi, his long-time, like years-long rival, going back to the time in Mexico, and the guy that basically broke his neck on a US show a few months ago. Well, actually closer to a year ago, I think. And basically he's saying, I will hold this title until you come back. And he's been using Hiromu's catchphrases. He's been, using aspects of his costume, and basically he's been saying, I'm holding this title until we can settle this one more time, you and me, one-on-one. And Dragon Lee beat Bandito for the the junior heavyweight title in Madison Square Garden, and Taichi Ishimori lost the title without being pinned. I hate triple threat matches when they're not elimination. Alright, so this is the main event. This should be good. So, the 84th champion, Dragon Lee, versus Blue Steel, Taichi Ishimori. Match of the night. That was fan-freaking-tastic. Well-paced. Told a story. I genuinely had no idea who was going to win going through this. One bad thing I'll talk about in a minute. Well, one negative that I'll talk about in a minute that might be a cultural issue. But that fantastic match went about 25 minutes. It not only had the high octane, impressive acrobatic, lucha libre, junior heavyweight style action you would expect out of these two. It also had the blue steel Ishimori, 10 pounds of muscle in a 5-pound bag routine, which he's so good at. But in the end, and they also keyed this into the overall story of Dragon Lee waiting for the return of Hiromu Takahashi, complete with Dragon Lee carrying Takahashi's old mask with him and talking to it like it's Head in Al Snow or something. But that actually makes sense because, as we know, the soul of a luchador is his mask. So when you are speaking to the mask, you are speaking to the soul of the luchador. Brilliant work. The one negative thing I'm going to talk about here, in the latter third of the match, there was a long sequence where Ishimori had Dragon Lee in a label lock, yes lock, no lock, cripple the crossface, whatever you want to call it, and that went on for a very long time. Dragon Lee is doing the thing where he's reaching for the ropes, and there's a couple of points there where he's letting his arm fall. There's a couple of other points where he's pushing off of the mat to reposition himself, and he does this about 10 to 12 times, and every single freaking one of them looked like he was tapping out. The referee didn't say anything, but the announcers had to cover it, saying that, it's referee's discretion. He doesn't interpret that. Red Shoes is not interpreting that as a tap out. He's interpreting that as a reposition. He's interpreting that as an effort to reach the ropes. Blah, 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 blah. Please stop tapping out, you idiot. Now, I don't know that much about Lucha Libre, so maybe they don't do the tap out. Maybe it's verbal submissions there. I don't know. But that was a huge, I think, performance mistake, big visual mistake by Dragon Lee. In the end, after, and I cannot emphasize this enough. I'm drunk now. I cannot emphasize this enough. The best match of the night by a mile. Dragon Lee picks up the victory, pinning Ishimori to retain the IWGP Junior Heavyweight title. He gets a big celebration with silver streamers, which I'm guessing that was a reference to the silver belt, perhaps. And then he spends about 10 minutes posing with the fans, talking with the fans. He gives his arm sleeve thingy to one of the kids, holds up a couple of the other kids on his shoulders, holds one kid up in the air. That's a lawsuit waiting to happen, but it's Japan, so it won't. But basically, talks to the fans. Really, really good job of the whole thing. Really good job of showing him as a man of the people, even though he is a gaijin. Dragon Lee did have a brief promo in the ring where he basically reiterated the fact that he's waiting for Hiromu to come back. And that's the end of the show. Now, I was debating whether or not to do final thoughts on both shows together, but I decided since you're telling people to buy 2 tickets, essentially, each show should stand on its own. So, final thoughts on this show. Wow. They have a junior heavyweight tournament coming up, right? The vast majority of the show, at least the first 2/3, was more about promoting the Best of Super Juniors than it was putting on a good wrestling show. We did get some elements of plot development. We got a little bit of character work, very, very little. But mostly this was, let's put a bunch of junior heavyweights in the ring and have them fight each other, and hopefully that will look good. I do recommend, as I frequently do with New Japan, check out the last couple of matches. If you don't mind the cliche of the 2 singles matches thrown into a tag team preview, if you don't mind that annoyingly overdone cliche, that overdone trope, then check out the special tag match. But I do recommend checking out certainly the Dragon Lee Ishimori main event. Maybe check, if you like the Taichi gimmick, if you want to see where they're going with Suzuki-gun, maybe check out the Taichi Cobb match. Again, outside of the Matanza gimmick, I'm not sold on Jeff Cobb. He's getting better. He's getting better, but it's way too slow for the prominent position that he's in the independent wrestling world right now. But the big story tonight, and hopefully they recover some of this over the next show, which I will be doing as soon as it comes out. Bullet Club is dying. This was the biggest thing in wrestling for like 3 years. No, correction. This was the biggest thing in wrestling for the last half decade, and it's dying on the freaking vine. They need an influx of talent. I don't think Bullet Club won a single match tonight. So, yeah, if they're going to try to save the cash cow that the Bullet Club t-shirts, the Bullet Club merch, etc., is and has been for a very long time, Bullet Club is no longer the I wear this to show my rebellion against corporate wrestling. Now that's the AEW shirt. So they've lost the elite, they've lost their position as the prominent challenger to bullshit corporate wrestling. They need to do something to make Bullet Club cool again, and I don't see it. Adding a guy in cool glasses is not going to do it. So, yeah, if they want to say Bullet Club, it's got to happen now. Okay, final grade for Wrestling Dontaku 2019 Night 1 is a C-. If this is your first live-ish review, then basically I start with an A+, everything starts out positive, and then I sort of reduce it down as we go. I'm taking off 2 full letter grades for the fact that basically most of the matches didn't matter except to promote a show that people hadn't paid for. So I think that's disrespectful to the live audience. You have to promote future shows, I get that, but that has to be balanced with giving people what they paid for. And as they're learning from their international expansion, simply having the wrestlers there isn't necessarily going to do it. They're coasting on the brand right now. They are in trouble. Going from a C+ to a C- for 2 reasons. One, the cliched booking of the special tag match, and frankly a lot of the other matches were pretty simple, pretty by the numbers. But I'm also taking points off for the backwards booking of the Taichi Jeff Cobb match, and I'm taking a very little off for the please don't tap out when you're not supposed to be tapping out in the main event. That's almost a minimal nothing. That's not even the difference between a C and a C-. But yeah, backwards booking with the underdog heel, and just generally an uninspired show creatively. Good show, decent show wrestling wise. If you like good wrestlers doing good wrestling, you'll like this, but I'm here for the story, and there just wasn't enough of that. Alright, that's it for this episode of the Last Wrestling Podcast. Our next show will hopefully be in 24 hours as we get Wrestling Dontaku Night 2 live-ish review.